Well, it's time. You impressed me with your argument. You made me think about a couple of things. However, I'm sticking strong, and this is where I blow us out of the water here. So you bring up I think your big argument was that Hayne made a grand final, Turbo didn't. Now
Yeah.
we're looking at two individual players and their individual seasons. If if it was close, then I think you can start to bring team accolades into it. But I don't think it's close, and here's why. I've got their stats, their attacking stats. Going to compare them. Now, I can already hear a lot of people, it's not all about stats, etc., etc. Whilst it's not all about stats, I think we need to remember stats still matter a lot. And they are a good indicator to show us what went on the field. Usually they are a very good indicator of that. So here are the games played between the two players. You mentioned how Tommy missed some games at the start of the season.
Yeah.
In 2009, Jared Hayne played 26 games, every game of the regular season.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, this is including finals because I think Hayne would have played Origin, so he would have missed a couple of games through Origin. Tom Trbojevic played 18 games. I know 15 of those were in the regular season, out injured, and also playing Origin. So Tom Trbojevic played 8 less games than Jared Hayne did. Keep that in mind because that's the big one. 8 less games. Let's look at tries now. 2009, Jared Hayne scored 14 tries in 26 games. Tom Trbojevic scored 28 tries in 18 games. Let's look at try assists. You brought up how at the start of the season, Hayne was playing in the halves a bit. So you'd think Jared Hayne playing in the halves would probably have more try assists. 2009, Jared Hayne gets 19 try assists, again, in 26 games. Tom Trbojevic, he loves the number 8 because he got 28 try assists in 18 games. So 28 tries, 28 assists. What's 28 plus 28? I can't think off the top of my head, but
I'm not the one to do that maths.
In terms of try involvements, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not that good at maths. I stopped doing it after year 10. Tackle breaks, 2009. Jared Hayne, 178. Tom Trbojevic, 2021, 124. So Hayne actually beat him in a stat. Hey. But wait, there's more. Line breaks, Jared Hayne, 2009, 34. Tom Trbojevic, 2021, 33. Hayne beat him again. But before you get too happy, these last two stats, this is where I come back to games played. Trbojevic got 33 line breaks and 124 tackle breaks in 18 games. Hayne got 178 tackle breaks and 34 line breaks in 26 games. I'd say if Tom Trbojevic played 26 games, he probably beats Hayne in those stats too. I'm just
can neither confirm or deny that.
But how about this one? Average run meters. 2009, Jared Hayne, 175. Pretty good. That's that'd be one of the better run meters per game rates in the NRL today. That's good. Tom Trbojevic, 2021, average of 209 running meters per game. Now, again, not everything's about stats, but when you look at these stats and the games played, if Tom Trbojevic had played 26 games like Hayne did, we're just about looking at a record-breaking season, I think, because when you look at it, players rarely, in terms of tries and assists as well, it's not often that players score more tries and assist more tries than games that they played in, especially a fullback. And he almost doubled in terms of tries and assists. I think it's an absolute travesty he didn't play the whole season because I'm of the opinion that if he did play the whole season, he'd be breaking some of these records. And I don't think we'd be sitting here debating this today because it would be farcical.
Yeah.
Which I personally think it is a little bit, but I think it would be farcical.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't subscribe to the theory that he had to play in a grand final like Hayne did, etc. Because I feel like when looking at the individuals, if it's that close where you go, I can't really decide, that's when you bring team accolades into it. And your argument is good because Hayne sort of kicked on during the final series. That's when Tommy dropped off a little bit. I get that. But we're looking at the individuals, we're looking at the seasons, and Turbo's season just eclipses Hayne's. I do want to talk about Hayne a bit now, though. You bring up how he was played 5'8" and in the centers for the first few weeks of the season, which wouldn't have helped. But I don't think Jared Hayne had a great 2009. I think he had a great end to 2009. And when we look at the Dally M medal as well, and I do think he deserved it that year for how he played on the field. But the Dally M medal doesn't usually go to the player who was consistently playing at a high level for the whole year. It's usually the player who had a great run of form. Tom Trbojevic is a bit different because he had a great season, and that's my point. Tom Trbojevic consistently played at a high level for the entire regular season at least. Jared Haynes was sort of half a season towards the end, and I will always give props to the person who's been doing it for longer consistently than the person going through the patch. I still have James Tedesco in the argument for best player in the game. Why? Because he has consistently performed at that high level for at least 3 years now. Nathan Cleary's only really hit his stride in 2020. And Tom Trbojevic, if not for injuries, I think would be up there as well. But we've only seen his 2021. For me, in terms of the best players in the game, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's an example. You need to be performing consistently at that high level for a prolonged period of time. And here we're looking at two individual seasons. In Tom Trebojevic's individual season, he was high class, playing at the top of his game for the entire season. Jared Hayne, I'd give him half the season, probably at his best.